Hey, General Scott Ballard. Today I want to talk to you about the listing presentation, and I'm going to show you our version, the Madrona Group version, and show you what we do and exactly how we go about doing a listing presentation. The first thing I want to show you is what we show up with, because it starts with, the very second that they open the door, and we want to have something for them right off the bat. We're going to always bring a box of C's chocolates and a handwritten note, so that we have that gift and kind of create that connection right off the bat. But we want to have this really impressive presentation, and so we do use the John L. Scott black box system. And as you can see, it's a nice thick box. This has got a magnet sealed cover here, and it's all customized to us. And you can put inside of that box the selling your home guide, also customized to us, which could be customized to you. And this is a great selling guide. Hard, glossy, beautiful, good, great graphics, really interesting little book, and that can go inside of the black box. We're going to bring the CMA, which we always use a unibind branded to the Madrona Group, and put the custom CMA that we created in Cloud CMA inside of the binder. If you don't have, the unibind, that's fine. We can send the Cloud CMA print to FedEx and ask them to do a spiral bind, right? Which is pretty inexpensive. They do it real fast, and it still is a real nice little hardbound presentation for the CMA. And then I'm going to have a John L. Scott folder, which will have the contracts. And this has got the signed contracts from our last listing presentation. But the contracts that I want to bring are the Form 17. And this one I brought more than I wanted, but I want the Form 1A and the Form 17. And the Form 1A is, of course, the listing agreement, right? That's the big one. Once we get that one, then we have the listing, right? So the two forms, and I have that inside there as well. Okay, I'm going to bring my tablet, right? And the tablet's going to play the paperless listing presentation, and it'll be a PowerPoint. And I'm going to show you on the screen, not on the tablet. But I have all these things. So we come in, right? Obviously, we're going to start to build some rapport. Right off the bat, we're telling them how nice the house is, things that we like about the house. And, we give them the gift, the chocolates and the card. We have the black presentation box. We set that down on the kitchen table. And, when appropriate, we ask for a tour of the home. While touring the home, we make sure to talk about the things that we love about the home. And, this is a time to, really get to know your potential sellers, your clients, and, just try to just only talk about things you like about the house. Don't, point out anything that's negative at this point. So once we do the tour of the home, we come back to where the black box is, where the tablet is, where it's been laid. And we sit down at the kitchen table so that, everybody is sitting, closely, and you can do a nice presentation and keep people's attention. And once it's appropriate, then, hey, Are you guys ready? Let's go ahead and take a look at the presentation. Awesome. Okay, before we go ahead and take a look at the presentation, I talked about having the presentation black box, the folders, the selling your home guide. And so let's go ahead and take a look at where you can find those and how to get those ordered if you'd like to also utilize those tools. Okay, so a couple things from my desk. I clicked on Bear Printing, and I'll scroll down here on Bear Printing to the John L. Scott listing presentation system. And here's where I can buy the black presentation box. Yes, they are $23.50 a piece. And if that is too steep for you right now, then you can do these deluxe presentation folders for $3 each. They're also thick, and they can hold the selling your home guide and a couple other things, the contracts and whatnot. Not quite as awesome of a presentation as the box, but they'll do in a pinch. And then the selling your home guide, which is $7. And you can, again, customize those to, yourself. Okay. And then if you do go the presentation box way and you want the John L. Scott folders, they sell the folders here as well. And the presentation folders are $1.10 each. And if you want to do your own CMA covers, you can do those starting at 70 cents each. So there's a few things for you on Bear Printing. Okay, so if I was actually sitting in the kitchen with our sellers, I would be using our tablet. I'd have the PowerPoint loaded up here, and I'd go through the slides nice and easily with them and use that wow factor. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to be using the PowerPoint here on the laptop. Okay. So, all right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is what we call our steps to selling success. First thing is that we want to make this a big deal, right? Because it is. We're selling your house. This is probably the biggest financial move you're going to make this year, if not for the next few years. And whether you're using this to fuel your next purchase, or if this is going to be your retirement money, it's very important, and so we want to treat it that way. So our purpose is to help you achieve your goals, and how we want to do that today is to first preview your home, which check, we've already done. We want to discuss your needs, review comparable properties and current market trends, determine the pricing and the estimated net return. We want to create a marketing plan, and then finally we want to list your home. So a little bit about John L. Scott Ballard. Joe and I have been business partners now for a little over 4 years, and it was kind of our dream to start our own brokerage. And so June 1st this year, that opportunity arose, and we were able to purchase the John L. Scott Ballard office. Joe and I have been friends for about 16, 17 years. We actually first talked about being business partners a long time ago, and the timing wasn't right, but timing came about. And one of what we love about our unique team situation is that there's many people in the team, and so somebody's always available to be of assistance to our clients. So if Joe goes on vacation, I'm home, and if I'm on vacation, Joe's home. So it works out really well. And this is just little candid pictures of Joe and I, just because, hey, we're more than real estate agents. We have families and friends, and we like sports, and, we like to do fun activities. And so it's not all business all the time, although it does feel like it as a real estate agent. This is our reviews, and if you Google the Madrona Group, what you'll find is 5-star reviews all over Google, Facebook, Yelp, Zillow, Redfin, you name it. We're all over the place, and so we take our reviews very seriously. And so, we will expect a 5-star review from you at the end of this transaction. And if at any point through the transaction you don't think you're receiving 5-star service from Joe, just let me know and we'll definitely correct that. No, but in all seriousness, please let us know if we're in any way dropping the ball. So have you heard of John L. Scott? Yeah, it's, we've actually been around for about 90 years and we're a third generation local-ish company now. We do have offices in Idaho, California, and Oregon, but we're primarily here in the state of Washington. Lennox Scott's the current owner, and he is the third generation Scott. And he was actually just voted the 24th most influential person in real estate recently. So he carries a lot of weight. But what I love about John L. Scott, and the reason why we chose to buy into their company, is their mission statement, which is living life as a contribution. And that really ties into what Joe and I do with service and giving back to the community. So it's a real big part of what we do. And as a matter of fact, this year we've partnered with XYZ, and you talk about any kind of community work or service work that you do. All right, so the right representation, John L. Scott, which has been around now for 90 years here in the Pacific Northwest, and the Madrona Group. This is a little statistic that we like to keep track of, where the average agent on the MLS, their median days on market for a home is 7. The Madrona Group is 5, so that means we sell the houses a little bit quicker. And the average real estate agent, when they put a house on the market, will sell it at a 100.2% of the list price. The Madrona Group, that number is 112% right now. So we're going to sell the listing for a little bit higher and also sell a little bit faster. So that's pretty cool. But how do we do that? Well, we save you time and money through our unique value proposition by my marketing skills and Joe's negotiation skills. Prior to becoming an agent, I was actually a marketer of real estate agents. I've been teaching and coaching agents for about almost 20 years. Matter of fact, I'm actually scheduled to speak for the Florida Realtors Association here in August down in Orlando. So I still get speaking engagements. I'm actually going to be on a podcast with Chris Heller, the ex-CEO of Keller Williams, next week. And so anyway, point is that I'm going to use my marketing skills to make sure that we get the most amount of people inside your home and create that frenzy. And Joe, his background is in both roof sales and auto sales, where, he was at the top of his game and fine-tune his negotiation skills. So he's going to use those skills to make sure that we get the very most amount of money. So between the two of us, we're going to sell your home very quickly and for the most amount of money. So this is a map of our sold homes. We just throw this in here so you can see, that we do a lot of business here in, in the Puget Sound area. We sell homes all the way up here in the Camino Island area to Plain, down here to Buckley, just all over the place. But anyway, if you want to click on this interactive map, you can kind of see a little bit more. But we do like to specialize right here in this area where your home is, Mr. and Mrs. Seller here in Edmonds or Linwood, Washington. Okay, so there's 3 ways to sell your home. And right now, there is a little bit of a shift where people are starting to, talk about the potential of maybe getting a cash buyer for your home. So I just wanted to touch on that with you a little bit. Okay, this is where I would now pull out the printed PDF from the Instant Purchase Plus offer optimizer that shows what a cash offer would look like. I would hand over that sheet to our sellers, and I'd kind of talk to them about that. But let's go ahead and take a look at this tool and kind of how that works. Okay, so the new program that we've been talking about and a bunch of us went and did videos about the other day is the Instant Purchase Plus. There's also the Market Ready Plus. We'll discuss that in a second. But the Instant Purchase Plus is a iBuyer or cash buyer program. It's powered through this company here, Zavvy, and they have a tool here called the Offer Optimizer, where we come in and we put our address, the address of our listing. We put the approximate home value, what we think it would go for on the open market, and we tell them what the home condition is, either pristine, needs minor repairs, or needs major repairs. Okay, and when we hit the go button, it will do this nice little presentation for us where it'll tell us that, okay, if we were to get $600,000 on the open market, after our cost of selling, our estimated net would be $539,580. If we go with one of our cash buyers, then we'll get somewhere between $508,000 and $613,000. After our estimated cost of selling, we would net somewhere between $434,000 and $524,000. So as you can see, even in best case scenario, we're going to net about $15,000 less with the cash buyer. Now, the good news is that even if they decide to go with the cash buyer, this does have in the estimated cost of selling the 3% commission for the seller's agent. So that's pretty cool. So even if they decide to go with this Instant Purchase Plus offer, which not many will unless it really suits their needs, like an estate sale, or just like they just don't have time or patience, or they just don't want people in their house, or who knows. But most people will would not opt for this program. But if they do, it's fine, and you can still be taken care of there. So you can download a PDF version of this and then print that PDF, right? And so you'd have this report with you inside of your box or your folder, and that's when you would hand them that sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and switch screens. Okay, so okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've taken the liberty of going ahead and get a couple of cash offers for you, as you can see, and we can hand that little sheet and we can show them the difference in the going on the open market and taking a cash buyer. The second option is to go on the open market, like standard issue. And of course, we will use our amazing digital marketing plan. We're going to make sure we get you the most exposure. We're going to use our negotiation tactics, but the home is move-in ready. You do get a high net return. There's no expenses and no program needed. Or the third option is the Market Ready Plus program, which while we were touring, I noticed that maybe if we did a little bit of a paint job in here, that we could probably really up the value of the home and get more people interested in buying. And so, paint job, interior paint was probably going to be $5,000 to $8,000 to $10,000. And so we can use this program to get contractors into your home at no cost, no upfront cost to you. And we can use the equity in your home to pay for the paint job and maybe some carpet, or whatever else you've decided while you're doing the tour that will get paid back at escrow. So the plus to using this program is that you're going to get the highest possible net return and no out-of-pocket expenses, but it will take a little extra time, and there are no fees for this program. So really depending on what you think your client would do better. Are they ready to just go on the open market? All they needed is a clean and some decluttering, and they're ready to go, or maybe a staging. Also, you can use the Market Ready Plus for a staging service. So the number 3 option might be the best way to go if they need a little bit of work, or just a little something to make the house really pop. Of course, if they don't have any equity in the house, or if it's ready to go as is, then we just want to go with number 2 and go with the open market. Well, that'll be up to you to kind of, steer them or help them pick which option would be best for them. Okay. Okay, great. So we'll probably just go with the open market then. Awesome. All right. So we think it takes getting 5 things right to sell your house. The first one is getting the house right, which we just kind of talked about a little bit, and that's the presentation. Just making sure it's clean, it's staged, everything's working, and it's ready to go. Getting the yard right, that's going to be the curb appeal. Make sure that when people drive up to the front yard, and the first thing they see is, the house and the landscaping, and just so we want to have all that done and make sure it looks real nice. We want to get the marketing right. That's going to be my job. I'll talk to you about that in a second. We need to get the price right. That's going to be important. And then finally, the right broker. And of course, we do hope that's us. So let's talk a little bit about presentation. All right, so getting the house right. Here's an example of like really getting the house right. It's perfectly staged, clean, gorgeous. Here's getting the yard right. Look at that landscaping. Look at all the paint, the lights, the everything. I mean, it just really pops. So that's kind of what we're going to be aiming for. And we are going to hire an award-winning photographer to do a photo shoot of your home. That's on us, and we cover that. But it's really important because, when people are deciding, what houses they want to view on the MLS, because we all know everybody starts their home search online. What makes you decide which house you actually want to go visit is the pictures, right? So it's really important that we take really nice pictures. And so Brandon will be taking care of that for us. And, he's been on the cover of Homes and Land and Realtor and all kinds of cool stuff. Depending on the home, we might do some drone footage. In this case, you can see it's right on the water, so this makes a ton of sense. Really depends on the house. If it's sitting on acreage, or if it's like got a really cool yard or something like that, you're going to want to maybe talk about doing drone footage. If it's a condo, or if it's a tiny yard, or if the house like butts up to the neighbors, you don't really want to show that, or if the roof is in bad shape or something. So be real careful about, which houses you want to do drone footage on. But if it makes sense, we'll do drone footage. And then every listing, we do a 3D virtual tour. Have you guys seen these? If you have not, let's take a look real quick. These are the Matterport 3D virtual walkthrough tours. And they're real cool. You just kind of pop in there and you start clicking around, and it's just like you're walking right through the house. And what we found is with COVID and with so many people moving to the area from, different countries, because of the tech industry and whatnot, that we're actually selling homes sight unseen. The only way that they've seen the house is through one of these 3D tours. So it's a real cool deal. So let's talk about the promotion. Like I said, this is my job, but what I want to try to do is kind of create a frenzy around the home. I want to get as many people inside the home as I possibly can. And the reason I want to do this, and it is because of the backlog of buyers. Now, this might seem pretty obvious once I point it out, but you're going to get the very most amount of activity or potential buyers at your listing in the very first week, right? This is where all the buzz is. And by week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, by the time we get to week 6, all the buyers have gone away, and now we're just kind of waiting for people to come. So we really want to take advantage of this week 1 backlog of buyers. And we're going to do that by doing what we call a seller listing launch. And the seller listing launch is a whole psychology around, providing new listings with maximum marketing exposure, right? So that we can kind of increase the motivation of all those backlogs of buyers. So that's going to start with putting the house on the market on a Thursday afternoon. And we do that because we want to make sure that we're at the very top of the list for when people are starting to look for the houses they want to go tour Saturday and Sunday through open houses, if those are available, which they are again, or even just, out with their agent. Still Saturday and Sunday seems to be, the day most people want to kind of go out and do that. But here is our complete marketing strategy. And so we start with signage. I know that seems pretty obvious, except for one time when I didn't have signage on here, somebody asked me, do you put signs out? And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll add signage. So we do, of course, put a sign. We do directionals. We do A-boards. We do all kinds of stuff to bring attention to the house. We're going to do a custom flyer with premium paper. We do MLS syndication. That just, everybody does that, sure, but it's just important that you know it will be out on Redfin and Zillow and all the top websites. We're going to do a custom listing website for the home. We're going to email our sphere of influence, which is over 4,000 contacts right now, including current buyers, investors. We're going to pop it out to our social media channels where we have over 6,000 people a month that visit our blog, thousands of Facebookers and likers and Instagrammers. We're going to run digital ads on both Facebook and YouTube. We're going to do a direct mailer out to your neighbors. And sometimes people will say, well, I don't know if I really want my neighbors to know too much about what I'm doing. But the National Association of Realtors has an interesting statistic where they say that 73% of people that move to a neighborhood were referred there by somebody that lives in the neighborhood. So what that means is that we want to make sure we get our neighbors working for us and let them do some of the marketing as well. We are going to do an open house, and that just started up again now that we're in phase 2 or 3, depending on when it is. So we're going to post that open house to all the different social media channels and whatnot to try to drive as much traffic to it as possible. And we're going to put it on showing time, which will track all the visits. It'll allow us to schedule the people that are coming and going, and it'll also allow us to get some feedback, which will be real helpful. And then finally, we'll do a perma flyer out on the front of the house so that you will never run out of custom flyers. And also we'll put a QR code on there that will link to the website, which has the 3D tour. So even if somebody's just walking by and they scan that QR code, they can still do a 3D tour of the home right there. So it's kind of like the home's open 24/7. So John L. Scott's the founding member, one of the founding members of a company called Leading RE. Have you heard of Leading RE? Probably not. Well, Leading RE is this company that has taken all the smaller brokerages of the world and put them under one roof. And so when you put something on the John L. Scott website, it's going to go out to the entire globe. So we're going to get you global exposure as opposed, and in addition to local exposure. And also, if you are moving and you need help finding a place where you're moving to, we are relocation experts. And so we can set you up with somebody on the Leading RE team. So when we say, hey, we can find an agent to help you buy a place where you're going, it's not going to just be a friend of, Uncle Jack's. This is going to be like a 5-star rated agent like we are, but, part of the Leading RE team. So number one complaint people have with their real estate agents is a lack of communication. And I think you could probably guess by, the fact that we have our phone numbers and our Facebooks and our website and our reviews plastered all over everything we do. We're not going to be hard to get a hold of, and we actually make communication a big part of what we do. On top of that, you'll meet our transaction coordinator, which will give you updates every single week. So finally, pricing, and here's the deal. We just want to make sure that we can put a sold sign on your sign in your front yard, and that we don't use your house to sell all the neighbors' houses. So it's going to be real important that we get the pricing right. Are you guys ready to go ahead and look at that CMA? All right, now before we get into the pricing too much, I think we should kind of talk about the current conditions of the market. And now how I'll do that, and it really is up to you. There's 2 different ways you can do it. On my desk, there is a tool called Trend Graphics. Trend Graphics has, this is by far the best statistics kind of presentation system, although it's a little bit more in depth, and so it takes a little bit more to kind of get them all set up and print it out and whatnot. And so honestly, I like to use a little bit easier one, which you can come into the Northwest MLS and you click under Stats, and there's a tool here called InfoSparks. And this InfoSparks creates a nice little graphing tool. and that we can print these out real easy, and then we can kind of show people what's going on. So let's say our client lives in Edmonds, and they're in a house, not a condo. Okay. You can get into bedrooms and lot size and all that, but the more drilled down you go, the fewer stats you have, and then it's doesn't look quite as impressive. So I just stick with kind of house, and that's it. But drill down as far as you want to go, and then you can you show all these different stats, right? So like I like to go back maybe 5 years, and then you can either do a rolling 12 months or a monthly, right? The monthly is kind of cool because it'll show, like, for example, like what a bang, look at that, from January to February, $140,000 increase in the average sales price or in the median sales price in Edmonds. That is, I mean, that if that doesn't entice you to want to sell your house right now, I just, I don't know what does. So I'd probably print this graph off here for sure, right? So I just hit print, and it'll turn it into a PDF, and then you send it over to your printer and print it off, and there you go. I like to have like 3 stats that kind of show what's going on. The sales price is a good one, but it really depends on how the market is and what you kind of want to show them, right? And so you might want to show them month supply, right? Inventory. Okay, you can show them that the inventory is only at 0.3, 0.4 months right now. Hey, that's ridiculously low. You might want to show them the percentage of list price to sale price. Look at that, 102.2%, where that's the highest it's been since June of 17. So, just a lot of great stats. Days on market. Okay? 6 days on market is the median right now. The average, probably stick with the median right now. And so you can show them any of these. I'd print off, 2, 3, or 4 of these, and you can show them these stats, right? So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, before we talk about price, let's talk about current market condition. So right this minute, and this part of the presentation won't always be the same. So you should know this before you get into it, right? But, share the current state of the market. And right now, it just so happens that we have an extremely low inventory. As a matter of fact, the National Association of Realtors and Northwest MLS both have stated that this is the lowest inventory that we've ever had, right? And that's in 42 years of keeping track. So there literally has never been a better time to sell your house, to be able to sell it as fast as possible and get the most amount of money and the most favorable terms. So, and then I'll point out the different stats that kind of, show that. And if that's not the case, if we're not in this amazing seller's market, then I'll pull out some different stats, and I might tell them, well, hey, look at here, there is a lot of listings right now, but maybe there was a lot of closed sales last month, and so we can see where maybe we're going to see a downturn right now, or we're still have maybe average sales price. Like, well, geez, even if things aren't going too fast, our average sales price is higher than it's ever been, or whatever stat you want to show them. Okay, so we'll show them the stats. Now let's get into the CMA. So in order to present the CMA, we're going to come back to my desk, and we're going to click on Cloud CMA. And you'd create a new report here, but I'm going to use a report I've already created. So I can present this in 2 different ways. I can either take the PDF and print that out and put it in my hardbound book or some type of a case like we've already talked about, or I can also view it live. This will just give me a link that will, I can show it on my laptop or on my tablet. And so I don't even have to pay for printing. But I'm going to show it live here for the sake of this presentation, this video. Okay, so this is our CMA. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I prepared this comparative market analysis for you. That's how we price real estate. Is we take the most current and closest and most similar homes that have sold in your area, and we use that to based on the condition of the home, kind of fine tune the price of your home. So let's take a look at some of the comparables that we found. So we start the presentation. So Joe and I have ours set up so that we do a little bit more promoting, but I'll skip through that. I don't want to make people watch this stuff again. Okay, so these are the 8 comparables that we found. What you'll notice. So listen, Cloud CMA will allow you to do like what they call a quick and dirty CMA, where they'll just find 10 listings and put them on here. That is not a CMA, right? We have to go to the MLS. We have to do our research. We have to search for the homes that that most closely resemble our home, and make sure that we get a very accurate price. So you'll notice that here's our subject property. It's a split level. It was built in 1960. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath with 1,600 square foot, 10,000 square foot lot size. So I've found homes no older than, that have sold no longer than 6 months ago. And, they're all give or take 3 or 4 bedrooms, 2.25 to 2 and 3/4 baths, 1,600, 1,700, 1,600, 1,800. Lot size is all very similar. Everything's very similar. So we'll kind of go through and we'll look at the comparables, and we'll kind of point out some of the pluses and the minuses, and why are some only 535 while others are 615. And usually it's going to be the amount of updates that have been done, the curb appeal, these kind of things. And then based on, like, for example, we look at the curb appeal of this house versus the curb appeal of our house, and, we can notice some differences right off the bat, right? Like, we're probably not at the 615 level. Although we do have one more garage than they do, and our lot size is a little bit bigger, and everything else is pretty much the same. Well, we have one more bedroom than they do as well. So, there's this, you kind of got to fiddle around with that pricing a little bit. So we'll go to the next slide, which is the average pricing. So the 6 comparables we came up with, we have an average sold price of $570,000, an average pending price of $600,000. Okay. Good news, the average home in your neighborhood only took 13 days to sell. That's pretty fast. And they sold for 102% of the list price. So that's real good. Just in case you were wondering, if you did do a Zestimate on this home, the average home on this list was 7.7% different than what the Zestimate stated, or on average $45,000 off the Zestimate was. So we don't want to put too much stock into the Zestimate. So based on the comparables, we've come up with a price range between $550,000 and $599,000. And so at this point, we'll kind of go over where we are with pricing. Now, along the way, while doing the tour, sometime during the presentation, we'll probably have asked our client somewhere, oh, hey, by the way, what are you guys thinking about price, right? And so that we can get an idea of what they're thinking. And say if they had said, well, we're thinking somewhere between $600 and $650, which is what did happen, then I'm going to say, yeah, hey, you know what? We're thinking that $599 price would work just fine. But with the current condition of the market, if we stayed closer to that average sold price, maybe a $575, then we could get more people to the house and try to drive up the price, try to create that frenzy and see if we couldn't get multiple people bidding on it. But we are comfortable at the $600 price. Ultimately, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you do determine the value of the home. We're just here to give suggestions. So, what do you guys think? Well, yeah, you showed us those comparables, and so I guess we would be, comfortable at that 575 mark. Okay, great. So we probably would do it 574.99. Does that work for you? Yeah, sure, that works great. Awesome. So we've agreed to a price. Now, I just have a couple of forms that I need to get signed real quick. The first one is the Form 17, or the seller's disclosure. So how long has it been since you bought or sold a home? Well, you might remember that you got this form that shows what the seller knows about the home. So you're just disclosing what you know about the home based on these questions that are either yes, no, or I don't know. And if you don't know the answer, I don't know is a perfectly valid response. And as a matter of fact, this is the one form that we can't help you with. We can just tell you, check I don't know if you don't know. So go ahead and you don't need to have this done today. We'd just like to have it done, before we go live. And the second form I have here is just the form that says that we get to list the house. And it does show the payment for that, which is 6% and 3%. So how this works is the 3% goes to the buyer's agent, and that's to entice them to bring buyers to the house, so we can try to get as many people there as possible. And then the rest of that goes to John L. Scott, in which we pay our corporate fees, our licenses, our taxes, all the marketing for this house. And then whatever's left over goes to Joe and I. So I just need to get your initials on the bottom pages of the first two pages, and then your signature on the last page. And that is the listing presentation. Now, if if it's possible that they sign at this point, it's also possible that they, have additional questions. I think that, if we do the presentation in this manner, then we'll have closed down most of the objections that people would have along the way. There might be some question on commission, and there might be some question on, signing it right now. And then we do have to actually, get a date in here for when they're going to be ready to list. And so, there are some variables, but we can talk about those more in a different video and in our role playing sessions. But for the most part, that is the listing presentation. Please do watch this and, a couple of times and practice it, right? And practice your listing presentation on your, family and friends. And I think that it's really important that we do that at least 3 times before we do it in front of a real client, so that we make sure that, we try not to mess up too much. And, I messed up a fair share in this video. So I need to go back to the drawing board and get to practicing. All right, guys, thanks for watching.